Discover the forest with your family today. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a forest near you.
Every 4 years, the world tunes in to see the greatest athletes do what they do best. People don't always realize everything that goes on behind the scenes of the competition. But this year, that seems to be all that people can focus on. The media has deemed this phenomenon Sochi Fails. Emily, what has been some of your most memorable Sochi fails?
Yeah, it's been a rough Olympics, I feel like, this year a little bit. But one of the things I was just reading about in the New York Times is a salt shortage. Now, what happened was Hans Pierre, who's, I guess, a snow and salt expert from Switzerland, he used to ski, and he told the Olympics, he goes, you have to get more than 19 tons of salt. And they didn't listen. That is a lot. Yeah. And they were already spending let me read this right, $50 billion on this Olympics, $50 billion. They're already a little over budget, so they ignored it. And alpine skiing needs it. And with the weather conditions, it was necessary or else they were going to cancel events. So, you know, it's just another thing. It's little things like that that you see going wrong that could have been prevented.
Right, because they didn't end up getting the amount that was
suggested, and they eventually flew it in and all got solved, but probably at a more costly, took longer to actually make happen. Exactly.
Obviously, weather's not their fault, but if someone's giving suggestions,
but to me, it's like they told you why, you know. And this is, I understand that this is their first time, but it's everyone's first time. You know what I mean?
And it is hard to completely prepare. But,
exactly.
Another thing that was kind of unexpected was there's been a ton of dogs all around Sochi running into the ceremonies, which is very dangerous. Walking the street. So there's been a lot of interaction. Some's been positive. Some of the athletes have adopted some of the dogs.
I have seen
But the government is also threatening to kill some of the dogs out there, which is really, really a problem. Really upsetting that had to happen during the Olympics. Another thing that kind of should have been taken care of before. And something that just came out today, a wolf was actually spotted wandering one of the hotels. So it's like really not that safe.
It's random things like that. And you know, it makes me upset because I feel like it takes away from the athletes and this is their glory moment. And you know, how often do they have this opportunity to be here in the spotlight? This is their career highlight.
Exactly.
And for little things, and for little things like this to be happening, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love seeing the skier, Gus Hensworthy, with his puppy on Instagram. And if you're watching, I am single. So, you know, little things like that, I think it adds character to the Olympics for sure. And
you kind of have to get used to cultural differences and see kind of where that takes you.
So it's hard, but this is the most expensive Olympics. This is where they've spent the most money, $50 billion.
Exactly.
But, you know, you think everything
on the athletes. Like, they are the best in the world. They deserve to have the best quality things.
And you know what else? I mean, speaking of that, it's not only about the athletes, it's people that come and support them.
Right.
Especially journalists. Journalists get flown in all the way from the United States, from all over the world to come in, and many of them this year, none of their hotel rooms were ready. There was yellow water. Some hotels didn't have lobbies.
The curtains were falling down.
People said
rooms weren't ready.
They had toilets that said don't flush toilet paper down it. You know, it's crazy things like that. And it's hard because they wanted this. They wanted to host the Olympics. And you know, it's just upsetting that nothing went as
Right, and I think it's hard because obviously there's so much going into the Olympics and it can be so difficult. But I don't know, I think there is a certain of like prepare that you need to put into this things.
But we are leading in the medal count.
We are leading in the medal count. Go USA.
So
we have some high hopes. But great discussion. We'll see how the rest of the Olympics pan out. But next time you're watching the Olympics in the next couple of weeks, keep an eye out for the more fails and hashtag Elon Sochi Fails on our social medias. Keep the conversation going. Up next, Kathleen gives us a rundown on the runway.